Hi, welcome to Road to 100. Here we'll take a few concepts and look at how to approach so that you can solve it faster. So man initially invested 12,000 in the bank compound interest for 5 years. Okay, and after 5 years he used the money including the principal and interest to buy a car that depreciates 10%. 2 years after buying the car he sells a car. Look now here all the options are in percentage, right? So in that, and everything is percentage. In the sum also everything is percentage multiplication. So instead of taking 12,000, you can take 12,000 perfect, but you can take 100 as well and solve. You'll still get the same answer. So let's say you invest 100. I'm just showing it by 100. You can take 12,000 also and solve. But normally in such calculation, just to make you understand, when the options are in percentage or maybe a ratio, you can always assume 100 and solve instead of taking a complicated value which will increase the calculation. So in this case, you're multiplying by 1.25 times. Right, you can use a calci out here, and then 2 years it decreases by 10% into 0.9 into 0.9. So here calci is available. It makes sense to take a calculator and solve. And if you solve it, I believe you should get it as 201.55. So that means the depreciated value is 201.55. He sells it for 100, which will make out little less than half. So it's less. But little half, 50%, 50.38 will be the answer, right? So you start with 100, 1.2, 1.25 times, and then 0.9 to reduce 10%. You realize it becomes 201.55, and he sells for 100, so which is slightly less than 50%. So 50.38% less will give you the answer. So here you have a inscribed in a circle. So you have a circle, O center, and you have pentagon. Now for midpoints, here at every midpoint, again you draw a pentagon. Find the midpoints, you draw a pentagon. So if you look at the length of this side of this pentagon is half of the other side, because in this triangle, any triangle if you look at, this will be joining the midpoint. If the line joining the midpoint of a triangle, two sides of a triangle, is half of the third side, which means the ratio of the length of the two pentagons is 1:2. The ratio of the length is 1:2. By similarity, the two pentagons are similar. The ratio of the area will be 1:4. So ratio of the smaller pentagon to larger pentagon will be B option. Basically based on a property saying that two similar figures, if the ratio of the side is 1:A/B, the ratio of the area will be A square to B square. Use that property, you get the answer. Triangle ABC with side 30. Again ratio, actually 30 is not important, but still you can take it up if you want. So you realize that ABC, P and Q are side AB. So it's a P, Q, R, S, T, U. Join the points to get a hexagon. Right? What's the ratio of triangle ABC, the bigger triangle, to PRT? There are two ways of solving. One is calculate normally, right? And second is so if you calculate normally, if I take the sides as 1, 1, 1, let's say, because it's broken up into equal parts, trisects means equal parts, 3. So ratio area of the length of the side of the smaller triangle is 1. I want PRT. If I take PRT, this is also equilateral triangle because equal if you look at it. So 1, 1. Now if I draw perpendicular, it becomes a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This is a 90, 60 and 30 triangle. Hexagon, right? So when you draw perpendicular. So that means this side will become √3/2. The whole side will become √3. Each side becomes, side of the 60 becomes √3/2. So if you look at a ratio, both are equilateral triangle. The BQR is equilateral triangle, right? Or ABC is the equilateral triangle. And PRT also equilateral triangle. The side is ratio 3:√3. Bigger side is 3, AB is 3 √3. The ratio of length. The ratio of the area will become square of it, 9:3 or 3:1. You can mark the answer as D option. Again, the same property as previously. If two similar figures, both are equilateral triangle, if the ratio of the lengths are A:B, here it's 3:√3, area becomes A square to B square. Second approach is trying to break up the area into equal parts. Normally in geometry, when you area ratio, you can always break it up into equal parts. How to break it up into equal parts? So from center you can draw this line. If I draw this line from center, I realize that in the hexagon, it's broken up to 6 equal parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, this triangle breaks up the hexagon into equal. That means the area of a triangle is half of the area of the hexagon. Because 3 parts are inside a triangle, 3 parts outside a triangle. Now, if you look at the ratio of the triangle, smaller triangle to bigger triangle, let's say triangle BQR to triangle ABC, the ratio of the side is 1:3, the ratio of the area is 1:9. These areas are 1, 1 and 1, 3. The area of the hexagon is 6, from which 3 is inside the smaller triangle. So if the area of the overall ABC is 9, so area of the triangle PRT will be 3, because it's broken up into 9 equal parts. So 9:3 or 3:1. I'll repeat. So triangle BQR to ABC is 1:3 sides, both are equal triangle. So volume area is 1:9. So that means if I take the area as 1, 1 and 1 for each of the outside triangle, that means the area of the hexagon will become 6, because the total area of the whole triangle is 9, hexagon is 6. And hexagon is broken up into 6 equal parts. From that, the triangle, inside triangle is 3. So inside triangle is 3 PRT, the overall bigger triangle is 9, so 3:1 is the answer. Here also answer is asked in percentage, so I can solve it using approximation. It can really be fast. For example, let me say income is 100, okay, and so he spends 15%, so 15 rupees on snacks and books. Now say income becomes 300. So if it was 15 only expenditure, the answer would have been 5%. If it was been 15 only, the answer would have been 5%. But it's increased by 10% and 5%. So somewhere it is increased by more than 5% but less than 10%. If I increase by 10%, 0.5, it will become 5.5%. It's slightly less than 5.5 because it's between 10 and 5. So only option is 5.4. Approximate and get the answer quickly. If you understand this, great, you can do it fast. If not, let's do it normally. You can use 100 and solve. I'll use 100 and solve, I'll use normal method and solve. Say income is 100. So my expenditure is 15 on snacks and books, which is in a ratio of 3:2 if you look at it. It's ratio 3:2. So when I break it up into 3:2, it becomes 9 and 6. That is, snacks is 9, books is 6. Now this becomes 300, right? Then snacks is increased by 10%, becomes 9.9. Books increased by 5%, becomes 6.3. If you add, it becomes 16.2. So basically you're working on 16.2 out of 300. Solve it, you'll get 5.4%. That's the value, right? Again, whenever the options are percentage or ratio, you can assume values and solve. Another way of going about it, start with 3,000, 2,000. So 5,000 is the income on snacks and books, which is 15%, right? Then 100% is how much? That's the overall income. Then make it 3 times and then try to increase snacks and book by 10%, 5% and solve. That is also a possible method of solving, by finding out a value and then solving it. But as I said, I wanted to explain that whenever the options are percentage or ratio, you can assume values and solve. It becomes faster to solve. A company hires 5 equally efficient. So that means you had 5 workers over there. Now new workers are joined, which is 4 workers. But each is 50% more efficient. That means they do 1.5 amount of work. So if the initial workers did 5 work, the new workers did 6 work. So amount of work done by old and new is 5:6. So number of days taken is inversely proportional to work. The more the work you do, less the days you take. So days taken is 6:5. Ratio is a very good method to solve in terms of time, space, distance, work and all stuff. Become much faster. So if I say the old days was 6, the new days is 5, the reduction number of days is 1 out of 6. 1 out of 6 is 16.7%, you get the answer. So 5 people are working, now 4 are working but with the efficiency of 50% more, so 6 is the work done. 5 work done, say each one does 1 unit of work, so 5 does 5 unit of work. whereas each one does 1.5 unit of work, so they do 6 unit of work. So amount of work done is 5 and 6 ratio. So days is 6:5. So reduction of days is 1 out of 6, which is 16.7%. Right. Hope you liked it. Do subscribe to the channel. Thank you.